Welcome everyone to episode 324 of Just Joshing. I am your host Joshua Pantellaresco. I write stuff and podcast too. Today, Jim Jackson joins the podcast. Jim, we talked about his music today, more than so than his actual book writing. We also talk a little bit about Just Joshing 300. As I've mentioned this over and over again. Jim was in the audience, and I literally watched him specifically be impacted by what I said at the end of that episode in a good way. And we talk about that. We talk about a lot more. I talk about just where he is and where he's going. Jim's a good friend. I'm rooting for him with whatever he does. So it's always a pleasure to have him on the show. So Jim, thanks for coming. Beyond that, like I said, things are going. Things are moving. Nothing exciting to report yet. I'm hoping to hear something soon. Like I said, Vancouver's. Right now, actually, it is the closest I'll ever feel like in Calgary again today. It's -7 out here, which doesn't sound cold, but when you factor in the moisture in the air, it does hit a little differently than it did in Calgary. That all said, I'm not missing the -30 weather that's currently there. Beyond all that, let's get to that conversation, shall we?
Think you have what it takes to survive? Then get your ass to Mars! Get Your Ass to Mars is the latest simulation sensation courtesy of Indie Imprint. You are pitted against the hostile nature of Mars. Can you survive and pave the way for future colonists? Or will you succumb to the many pitfalls and obstacles in your way? Get Your Ass to Mars, the Dragon Edition, is available now on PC and Steam. Go to indieimprint.com for more details.
I'm gonna just turn this on because we're just fucking talking anyway. Yeah, we're just fucking talking. So I'm with Jim Jackson. We are having a afternoon cocktail. Actually a very fun place. We had a really good chat the last time we were here.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of the When Words Collide festival.
Yeah,
for me at least.
Cool. So my highlights were actually you were a personal highlight for me for one thing.
Oh, that's nice of you to say.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. I broke your cynicism in my 300th episode. I actually watched it break. I watched it break.
I'll own it. That's gonna be
I watched it break.
I'm not sure anyone's ever done that before.
Well, no, you aren't the only one I broke that weekend.
Yeah, is that right?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Tammy and Lynn Carville.
Okay.
MJ and Colette.
Oh, really?
I broke her, yes. Sorry, MJ, it's the truth. You're a sweetheart. I hate to break this to you. The reason why, and I know the reason why I worked on you guys, it was genuine. That's the thing. It completely took you off guard because, again, you're used to the world going, haha, but.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I went, no, there's no haha, it's not a joke. And you were like, oh, fuck, what do I do?
Well, and I think that's what you bring to the show too, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's doing what it's doing. That's why it's doing so well. It is genuine, and you have this way of getting to the genuine person, getting to the story underneath the mask, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because my problem is, and this is a day job thing. There's somebody there right now. I have to be very careful. Some people aren't ready for me to break them. They're just not.
And how are you able to tell when somebody's ready to be broken?
Because literally I can sometimes, I ask myself this question with some people. Mm-hmm. If I tell the truth to them, will they crumble? Mm-hmm. Right? Will they crumble? Some people are ready to be diamonds. Some people are ready to be dust. Yeah. And I try to get a real good feel of a person sometimes before I really, really go deep.
Right.
And if I get the feeling that if I'm too truthful or I'm too blunt, or it feels like I have to be very gentle with them, I don't. Because it just tells me that whatever they're going through right now, they're just not ready for that.
Yeah.
Because if I do that at the wrong time, I've done this, and it's one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life. I've done this to somebody, it breaks them because they're just not able to cope.
Right, but not breaks them in a good way.
They crumble because they're not like some people have their. Cynicism to me is the least interesting emotion of human nature. It's the least interesting one because it doesn't serve a good purpose. I understand sometimes you need a bit of a mask or a wall to protect yourself. To some degree, we all need that. I'm no different than anybody else. But I also realize, too, if that wall is preventing me from being disappointed, if that wall is preventing me from that, because if it's preventing me from being disappointed, it's also preventing me from being elated and joyful.
Yep.
There's something to be said.
Definitely.
There's something to be said. Yeah, having an even kill generally is a good idea, but there are moments, man, you gotta be happy. You gotta be sad. I mean, that's part of what makes life so much fun.
If you get rid of all of those downs, you're losing so many of the highs too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you say, elation, moments of joy. You're just living.
Yeah, and you're not even living if you're just living on an even keel. You're just existing, right? You're just existing, and that to me is boring. It doesn't serve a purpose. And so I get this really cool. I have a really cool gig. Like I've got at this moment, I'm into my 300 teams right now of just content I've just picked up.
Yep.
And think of how many people I've talked to that have done just incredible things, right? Right? So incredible that in some cases like yourself, you don't even realize it.
Oh, that's how you broke my cynicism before.
Yeah.
Trying to do it again.
He's actually blushing a little bit. It's like, I'm not trying to, but the thing is, I didn't try. That's the other reason why it worked, right?
That's really true.
Yeah, that's the reason why it worked.
That's the genuine part.
Yeah. If I try, you're gonna be like, no.
Right.
Right.
See it coming a mile away.
Yeah, but if I genuine and I'm honest and legit and I'm sincere, right? People.
Right.
And I did that weekend because it was an opportunity to. Most of you were there, so I could talk to all of you just about. There's a few I'd left behind on purpose because I'm going to probably see Adam for coffee before I go.
Yeah.
Right. I'm probably going to see Susie. Susie goes, I don't want it. Like she knows it's right. So I have a more sinister plan for her actually.
Well, you might need it. Susie is a wonderful person, and I love spending time with her. She has a very public-facing persona.
Oh, absolutely no.
Yeah.
No. Actually, no. The thing about her, and also like most people don't think fully appreciate this. She's literally one of the smartest people in the room. Like, honestly.
I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's legitimately one of the smartest. She'll play coy to some degree. Not coy.
I was watching Susie. Susie and I were both at a like vendors, farmers market-y kind of thing at Spruce Meadows a couple months ago, and I was watching how she sold and learning everything I possibly could. Like, she is good.
I know she
brings people in. She knows how to talk to them. She knows how to bring them in. She knows how to talk to them. And I learned so much watching her that week. I got to hit her up, see if she wants to do a craft book on how to sell your own books. You know, not a lot of people know how to do that. I don't know how to do that.
My advice is to watch pro wrestling.
Okay.
You think I'm joking? Here's why I say that.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the 80s when like one of my favorite wrestlers was Macho Man Randy Savage?
Of course, yeah.
He's nuts. Have you ever watched him do an interview? He's great. Right?
Yeah, with that voice.
It's not the voice. It's everything.
Yeah.
Right? He's nuts. But this goes back to something we just talked about already. He was genuine. The thing that really worked with him, yeah, he stood out because he is who he is. But the thing about him that made him special was he bought into his own hype. You have to to some degree. I talked about this with Talina a little bit, right? If you remember at the last night, you have to have a bit of an ego. You need it.
Yeah.
Right? You have to think that you have to believe on some level that what you have is valid and it's worth doing. Right? Susie doesn't have that problem. Right. Doesn't have that problem. A lot of writers do, because it's like, yeah, they forget the fact that they don't put, like, how long did it take you to write that novel, your first one?
Well, I did it NaNoWriMo, first draft NaNoWriMo, but
okay. But
so that, and then I finished it off like that December. But
how many hours did you put into that?
I can't count. I don't know. Lots.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point, though, right? How many hours did you put into that? You put your blood, your sweat, your tears into that.
Yeah.
It has merit and it has value. Just the work you put in, if nothing else, right? You have a book that you went from start to you completed a project, and a project that was something very near and dear to you, and it's really good too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but so take that. Okay, I'm not saying like ego's a tricky thing.
Yeah.
You're right. Ego's a tricky thing because ego is about like you have to have enough confidence in yourself to go and say, here I am. But you can't have so much confidence that you say, I'm better.
Ah.
Yeah. There's a balancing act, but you got to find that. You find that. You find what makes you you. You don't try to be someone you're not.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So now we're interviewing each other here.
Yeah.
So we talk about not being like being genuine, but obviously you can't just go around being raw and open and vulnerable all the time.
Well, yeah. Again, but it's
You need a public persona.
Oh no, totally.
How do you make that persona something that's genuine, like we were talking about, like Susie Vidori and Randy Macho Man Savage, and that is, I bet, the first time they've been mentioned in the same sentence.
That's okay. thinking, brother. Oh yeah. But anyways,
How do you make a genuine public persona?
Because okay, so you have to take a piece of yourself that you don't mind sharing to the public. I'll tell you what I do in my case.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that likes to have fun. You've seen it with the Dr. Seuss stuff. So I go out and I encourage everybody to play. Genuinely engage them, give them permission to go out and do it.
I'm stealing some of that stuff, by the way, from for a creativity book.
Yeah.
I'll credit you on everything, but wow, that was good stuff.
But yes.
Yeah.
Again, so this was the lesson on my very first book signing. I did everything wrong. I mean, absolutely everything wrong. I didn't advertise nothing. And the worst part was the building was in this isolated incident. Like this part in Kensington. Now, they don't even have a proper entrance. It's actually sealed behind a door. I mean, this was before.
Really?
This was before that. Okay. So the owner's son was there, and I'm like, how do I get people to come to this store? Because they didn't have posters or anything like that. I came up with this idea. I'm going to print arrows. I'm going to paste them on the sidewalk. Now, I learned a very valuable lesson that day because people followed those. They wanted to see where it would go. So I learned something very valuable that day, and I've kept it with me ever since. And Susie does this too with her fountain, and a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Right? There is not a soul. Like, if I try to sell you something, you're going to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if I go, you want to play a game? What kind of game? You're halfway interested already.
You feel that tickle at the back of the brain?
It's like, what kind of game? Because now, I'm up to something. But I'm not actually selling you something, and I'm encouraging in it, but it might be fun. And that's the thing I learned a long time ago was, if you make it fun, the sale right now doesn't matter. You're going to get the sale because what you've done is you've already opened the door to engage with people. Now you have this opportunity to create a relationship with people. Because what you've done is you've broken the ice. The ice is broken. You've encouraged them to play.
And you've encouraged them to want to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right? Like, part of my day job is writing client service training materials for professional services practitioners, right? Accountants.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And a big part of that is building trust with the clients. And so I know the trust building process. I know all the steps. I can see when someone's trying to use it on me. And I mean, the very first time I was on this show, I was watching you go through the steps. I don't know if you know them consciously or not, but you just do it naturally, right? I was watching you go through the steps, and I could identify what you were doing at each time. And still, I wanted to be a part of it. So even though I know all this trust building stuff,
it goes.
I wanted to be part of it
Because again, it was genuine. And that's the thing. People don't want to be put off by being fake. The moment you do that, here's the thing. Though. Here's the thing. The only thing I worry about with this podcast. Okay, that's the only thing I worry about. If I become inauthentic, just the moment that happens, the show's done. It's over. Whether it might not be over right that episode, but it's over. I already know it cannot grow anymore. Right?
Can you tell? Can you tell in the moment while you're recording the show? When you listen to it? How would you be able to tell?
Because I just would feel it like if I wasn't into it anymore. I'm genuinely into it right now. So I know that 300 episodes in, I'm still not tired of it. But if there ever comes a point where I don't feel it anymore. Right? I don't care if the thing's making me $1 million at that point. At that point, I just know the show has hit its death knell. Because credibility, going back to one other big foundation of trust is integrity and credibility. If you give me your word, I expect you to follow through on it. Vice versa, right? If I don't follow through on my word, I'm not worth anything. Yeah. Right? That's a big part of it, right? So I can be fun, engaging, witty, all that stuff. But the moment you break the integrity line, I don't respect you. Because at that point, you don't mean it. And if you don't have that, it's over. So the secret is, this is why it has to be something part of you.
Yeah.
Because if you're not authentic, right, people will be able to tell. They may not be able to tell right away, but they will figure it out sooner or later. And the moment they do, you're done. It's over.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. It's over. You cannot.
Well, or if you figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's also fooling yourself.
No, yeah, absolutely. So here's the other part. The reason why I say it has to be an authentic part of you.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, your persona and you are going to merge a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They have to.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're something you're not, you actually condemn yourself to a very weird sense of
That's
hell.
got to be uncomfortable.
That's
well,
true.
I say got to be. I've played with Persona for years, and when it doesn't match, it can get uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, because it's not you, and you know it's not you.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, like, you can't bring. I'm not saying reveal everything, because that is suicide, right?
And also, nobody wants to know everything
Exactly.
right away.
That's suicide, right? That's suicide. But there has to be a part of yourself that you're willing to let get hurt. You have to. It's just the way it goes. You have to, right? You have to take that part of you and like, okay, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. I will own this no matter what. Whether it gets me a reader, whether it gets me a listener. In your case, listeners matter to you too. So that's my point. So you take that part of yourself, and if you can keep that genuine, right? What eventually happens is you grow. Like for me, right? This podcast has become more and more inclusive, more so than I was when I started. I had notion, but again, I had to buy into what I was doing. Is I wanted to invite everybody, and I didn't care who you are, what you believe. None of that stuff mattered to me. Right? Getting to that point was a journey for me as well, but not a terrible one. It was one I could go down because, again, I'm pretty open-minded to begin with, but I had become even more so to do it.
Yeah.
So there's been a merge between that persona of being open and now actually it's real, right? It's a lot realer than it was. The separation is a lot closer, right? Yeah. Right. The separation's a lot closer. It used to be a little bit more farther apart than it was, and again, it's one of the things. Doing something long enough, you just learn how to do it. Going back to a pro wrestling thing, do you think Hulk Hogan talks the way he talked? He did. He became that way because again, that part of his persona, right, became real. Because if you're always on, if you're always doing it. It's a part of you.
So it better be a genuine part of you, or else you're gonna have a very unfulfilled life.
Yeah, that's why I'm very hammering that point home super hard.
When I was 19, I was in my first year at university, and with all the new ideas and mind opening that comes from that. I was living in the East for the first time that I could remember, when I wasn't a small child, a toddler, and so I had created this persona that was exactly who I wanted to be in high school. Things had already changed, and I wrote this song. I was playing at these open stages in Ottawa at the time, and I wrote this song that just completely encapsulated who I wanted to be like 2 years before. Like, if only I had this 2 years ago, it would have been perfect. But good, this is going to be like my flagship song. This is going to be the one I play all the time. And I got up the first time I was going to play it and started, and I was about 2 lines in and realized this is not genuine. Not anymore. This is not who I am. And I almost wanted to just stop in the middle of it and say, okay, no, I can't finish that one. I'm going to do a different one. But I think it was my third one. I would have been kicked off, but I should have. That's the thing. I should have actually just stopped and said, no, this isn't genuine. I've always used that as a thing, so that if I'm writing anything else, whether it's a song certainly, but even prose, like reading it out loud, I can hear the lie in my voice.
Oh, absolutely.
If it's not genuine.
Well, no, you can. If you can, someone else can too.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That someone else can too. That's something that this is why I'm very much against when I hear passive aggressiveness.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's nothing genuine about it.
Right.
So and I hear it, it's a turn off because it's just like you're being insecure here, and that's fine, but you're not being honestly insecure about this, right? And you're trying to cover up, or you are evading an issue by creating another issue, right? People do that too, and that drives me crazy as well because let's just confront, move on, and grow up, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? You have to be very this is something I've become very conscious of doing what I'm doing. That's why I get to interview some of the people I get to interview, because if I wasn't who I was, those opportunities never would come. Right? Right. So that's again this is my own personal journey on this. I like when I look at my conversation with Kat Hudson, which was there not too long ago.
Yeah.
That was as genuine as it could get. That was one of my favorite conversations. When I can't get to that point, I get very, like on my podcast, I get very flustered because it's just like, okay, I can't break the ice. I don't mind if it's a more formal question and answer if that's what you want, but I want a back and forth. And if I can't get it, that tells me something about the person I'm dealing
Scared
with.
the crap out of me the first time I did your show. I'm like writing to the publicist saying, can I please have the questions in advance so I can prepare a response? But George, it's just kind of conversational. Just unprofessional. I know, it was great. It was fantastic. But whoo, was I ever nervous going in, not knowing what we were going to talk about.
I did that with Tracy Posey too. She
Yeah.
goes, "What are we going to talk about?" I don't know. We'll figure it out. We had a really good conversation too. So I mean, that's
The best ones come from that, right? Yeah.
Well, that's what I go for, right? But again, this is just my brand. Who do you want to be? And who are you? And who do you want to be?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's a really interesting question. Something that's been coming up lately. I can't give away too many details, but I'm doing a big revamp of the company, the publishing company, and the consulting company, and bringing everything kind of under one umbrella heading, and the music as well. So that so there's going to be a big rebranding coming, and part of that is to do it genuinely. I wanted to look at the values I want to espouse, because the company is pretty much just me, right at the moment. So what are my values? And I came up with 3: truth, community, and story.
Okay.
You know what? If I had those 3 things all the time, I'd have enough.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Like, so can you elaborate a little bit on them? Like, story. I have an idea of that because I know a little bit about who you are, but like,
one of my favorite historians would always quote, or would always say, the history of a thing is that thing. It's like the history of science. You study the history of science, you're going to understand science, right? And I've kind of taken that a little farther. So that, like, a person's story is that person, right? Whether it's a story they're telling themselves or something that actually happened to them, whatever they think of as their life's narrative is that person. So with people, that's what I don't know. Like, what's your story? Tell your story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Community.
I used to think that was so hokey. Community. I don't know. My people are far away or dead, and I don't want to be around this community. And suburban backyard lawn mowing and barbecue, but certainly looking at becoming part of the writers community over the last several years has made me realize that is what matters, and not just to get your book sold or to be famous for 15 people or whatever, but just on a basic human level is that we are such social creatures that we need that community, and that is what gives us meaning.
I'm not gonna lie, that's one I miss most of my week.
Yeah, but you'll find a new community.
Oh, I know. I already have plans. I already know my plan of attack when I get to Vancouver.
Oh yeah.
I'm taking over the library system. That's what I'm going to do there.
Oh yeah.
Because they don't have a bookstore like Owl's Nest or one Kelowna has.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't have that, from what I can tell. So for me, the logical spot, and also I was already there. There's a little community hall that they do. There's a library downtown that they do events at.
Okay.
The 16-year-old pop singer I interviewed, she was just on CTV actually not too long ago, which is actually
she's gonna do good enough there then.
Oh hell, she's gonna go to the stars. I already know that. I was lucky I knew her when. But she was performing at this place, and I was looking at it, and I was like, this is where these are the places where you want to launch events. Like the thing I'm most looking forward to about Vancouver is there's always something going on. So the idea is just get connected to the different events that go on there and utilize them. Not only build myself up, but also just like it's an opportunity, right? And I just see that they do that better than they do here. right? But where here does better than there is, again, the community aspect. Aspect. So it's going to be interesting to evolve and develop that over there a little bit and see where it goes.
But you're kind of a community vector, right? Like you could create a community by introducing people you know to other people.
I've done that before, yeah.
Yeah,
I've done that before, and that might be what actually ends up happening. That might be why I'm going there. Somewhat. I know for me, it's just like that's what. But I am going to miss. I'm going to miss Randy. I'm going to miss you. Miss Sarah. I'm going to miss all the people I've met over the years here, because I've rooted for each and every one of you, and I'm not going to be here to watch some of you guys really succeed, right? I'm looking forward to, like we talked about Susie, I'm looking forward to when she gets her first book out from one of the big five. I'm looking forward to seeing where Adam evolves and goes from here. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do from here. Because, like I said, I shattered some cynicism, I think. So I'm curious to see what you do with it, right? And also, you're gonna keep doing music?
Yeah. It was just gonna be like a bucket list thing, but going back to a person's story is who they are. That's how I've always kind of thought of myself after first picking up a guitar when I was 15. I was, high school and I didn't really get along.
It's okay, high school and me didn't get along much either.
Yeah. So one day, I was 15, and I was out, in the kind of freeway roundabout, setting fires with my friend, as you do.
As you do.
And we got caught, got suspended for a day, or the rest of the day or something, and so my parents found out. I had to talk with my father, okay, well, obviously school isn't really. What do you want out of life, right? And I was like, well, what I really want to do is kind of, play guitar and sing in coffee houses. He said, okay, and he got the paper, because that's how you used to find things in those days. Got the paper and looked at some open stage. I think we went to Kensington that night.
That's awesome.
to the open stage.
Your dad was awesome.
Yep. Yeah. It was a very late night for him, actually. But
no, but again, he wanted you to succeed. He wanted you to succeed. That's an awesome dad.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly around that time we had our ups and downs, but now, definitely. And so since then, I've always kind of equated everything I do with that kind of musical performance, right?
Yeah.
I've used it as metaphors. I thought, well, you know what? Why not actually just do it for real?
Yeah.
And actually just play music. Like, no, at my age, I'm not going to become a big, huge pop sensation, and I'm okay with that.
Can I get your number? Sorry.
Yeah. Who knows? Actually, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit.
Okay.
So, one of my favorite quotes is, an acorn isn't produced until the first 50 years.
Okay.
Who is to say? This is what I've learned doing my thing. I do things happen.
Yeah.
Right? So, I won the Aurora. I interviewed Spider Robinson. Got into OnSpec.
Yeah.
Started sponsorships. This is me just doing stuff. And
well, they're not going to happen if you don't do stuff.
Exactly.
Sure, right?
So all I'm telling you is just keep your. If there's one thing you can learn from me, just one thing, it's this: do things and keep an open mind. Keep an open mind where they go. I'm not saying that you're going to get to the moon.
Yeah.
But what I am going to tell you is those opportunities might come. They do, and they come in unexpected ways. And if you're smart, you keep yourself open to that, because then when you'll see those opportunities when they present themselves, and you never know, you might, 3 years from now, you could be on tour and you could be a big star. It's possible, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen. The one thing I've learned about success is success varies from each and every person, but if you go in with the mindset, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to do this right, and you do everything you know how to do, right? You'll learn more things as time goes on. But in general, if that's the path you go and you keep yourself just open to the possibility, it might present itself. It's strange. Like I accidentally got published. I accidentally started a podcast.
Yeah.
Right. All right. And all
Best
because
things in life are accidents.
Right. So what I'm getting to you. All I'm getting at is don't limit yourself before you get started. Just go in with the I know I'm just going to do this thing and I'm going to see what happens. If you do that, just that.
Yeah.
good things will come to you.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something I want to be doing. You know, like I'd do it anyway, whether or not anything ever came of it. You know, and that's going back to that make sure your persona is something genuine. I could be really I've been successful at a lot of other things that I didn't want to be doing and had to give them up. You know, and start afresh. And that takes a lot of time to start afresh that many times.
Yes, it does. No, it totally does. That's why I'm like that. That's why I'm. This is the thing. Like, just keep your stuff open.
Yeah.
By the way, so storytelling wise, what are the differences? Because I mean, for you, you've written novels.
Yeah.
And this is music. I actually want to introduce you to a young adult book because she actually uses musical scores in her novels.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think you get
interesting.
young adult. I love young adult books because they're so experimental. It's sometimes they're willing to take chances like that.
Yeah.
Right. I could see that with you somewhere down the road.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between
The differences and the similarities both.
Yeah. Big thing I found when I first started writing prose was just the time it took so much. Like, even a short story takes so much longer. And yes, I know there are people who take a long time to write songs and that. Like Cohen is famous for working on something for years, on one line for years. I'm not that. Thank you. My thing has always been if I have to push, it's not worth doing right now. I'll come back to it later, right? So in my heyday, like when I was young and my mind was sharp and I had all these new ideas flowing through me, a song would take me a little bit longer to write than it took to play, right? And then I just got that in my head, run down to the donut shop, have a coffee, and just kind of tweak the lyrics a little bit, and then I was done. So prose is definitely a lot longer, and you don't get the immediate feedback, right? Like I was saying with that big Persona song, I could tell immediately the first time I brought it out that it was false. Right?
Yeah.
I could write a whole novel and then spend a year editing it as well, and then send it out to people and get it. It doesn't really sound. And I've done that actually.
Yeah.
Aren't you really just kind of scratching the surface here? Like I think you can go deeper in this. Well, damn, of course I can, but I just kind of wanted to get a book out,
It depends what you're going for too, right?
Yeah.
Like I have like when you get to the Cloud Diver and you read it and you're not busy laughing at some of the jokes I threw in there. Some of them maybe you may or may not get. I deliberately put some deeper layers in the story, right? But it's just like, did you want to go farther than that? No, I wanted a 50,000 word book. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be. My goal was to do a Roger Zelazny. I don't know if you've ever read Roger.
Oh yeah, I loved Roger Zelazny.
Yeah. I love that he was so dense in so few words.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Now,
I still have images from those Amber books.
I love that. No. Amber is one of my favorite series of all time.
Yeah.
Like it's especially the first 5. The first 5 are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the Ghost Wheel on the second 5. But that all said, all right. Beyond that, it's not quite as good as the first 5,
okay.
but
I never got that far into it. Maybe the first 5. Okay.
No. And honestly, they're the best.
Yeah.
They are the best. Don't if you want to. I'm not saying they're terrible because they're not. But you could tell, like again, looking, you can tell that the publisher is going, hey, listen, we'll pay you more money if you do this.
Yeah.
Right. You can tell that there was a little bit of that involved because he told such a great story in those 5 books.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And so my goal is tell the best story I can. It's going to be 4 books. The second book and third book might be like 60,000 words, 60,000 instead of 50,000. But I'm good. Like I don't want a long book. I want something that's short, condensed. I
like those kind of books.
Yeah.
It's the modern world. You know? People don't want to read 120,000 word books. Or maybe they do, but not everybody does.
No.
That's a big investment.
Well, it's just, well, honestly, for me, this is just me. I come from a comic book background.
Yeah, me too.
Right. I love it. Right. I come from a comic book background. I actually have a Judge Dredd style comic book I'm working on too. Right. Yeah. But the thing about that is, comics are short. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can add details and layers and stuff, and the cool thing is my collaborators can add their own details and layers, and it adds to the worlds we're building. But when you get down to it, they're short. When I'm going into like a novel, right, I have to work very hard to throw. Like for me, it's about how much crazy can I fit in to fit this space, right? right? That's where I'm at now. Maybe there will come a point down the road where it's like, you know what, I'm going to need 70,000 words. 120,000, I better have something worth saying. I better.
The story is the length that it is, right?
Yeah, but
I think we talked last time I was on the show about I found these little pulp novels books, these little pulp books from the 60s and Valley Village ones, a couple of them by Carter Brown. And I was looking at like, this is 125 pages, and I'm looking at the margins and the trim size and that. This isn't more than 20,000 words.
Maybe 30. All right, maybe.
And so that's what I base the King Wong books on. Right? I aim for 25,000 for those. Sorry, and I think the first one's about 32. The second one's about 30. But they're fast reads, and they're meant to be fun, and something that you know what, if you really wanted to, if you got really into it, you could finish it in a sitting like a comic book.
But, which, by the way, going back to my personal brand, that fits me perfectly, right? Me doing a 50, 60,000 word book fits me a lot better than doing 120,000, right? Me personally. Now, that might change down the road, but right now, that's who I am.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to own it.
Oh, your memoir would have to be easily 300,000 words.
No, God, no. God, no. I'm not going to be that pretentious. Good Lord. Good Lord, no. I'll tell my story in my books. I won't. Like, I guess, here's the other thing I've learned, like, writing the novel. How much of my story is in those stories?
And how much?
Quite a bit. Like, actually,
right?
So I'm about to leave the RISI, and the really big reason why is I'm trying to move beyond my comfort zone. The first book is about moving beyond your comfort zone. Right? That's what it's about. I mean, all things saying, the second book's going to be something completely different. Third book's going to be something completely different. Like, stuff that matters to me. But I realize, like, that's what actually is going to make the books. It's not, again, going back to, like, brand whole thing, I got to be true to me. Right? I can't worry about trying to get 1 million people. I just try to get my people. Because that will support me.
Do you find you have a common theme that you write about and try and look at from different angles in different books, or is it different with each one?
Bit of both.
Yeah?
Bit of both. I know the things that fascinate me on the big picture.
Yeah.
The things I've seen in life, the things I've wondered about and questioned about, like, those things have never changed. I've known for a long time that we are at the end of an age. Like, this era is coming to an end at some point in my lifetime. I already know this, right? I've known that since high school. So some of the things I'm watching and seeing, how I think they're gonna go, they definitely play a big part in everything I do. But also it's my voice, like, I don't know about if you've noticed this, but my writing voice changes about every 3 years.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
3 years sounds about right.
Yeah, about 3 years. Because at that point, I've accumulated enough that I've changed. Yeah. Since I fixed the teeth, big change.
Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you were talking about that in the show that you recorded at Wentworth.
No, I'm a lot more confident.
Yeah.
I intimidate more people now, which is, I think, hilarious. But again, it's just because I just go for it. I think the one thing about me is I don't have a filter. It's like it's stopping me from going, hey, just do it. It's like, I'll just do it, whatever. I've had my ass kicked. I think that's the big thing, right?
Right.
Because I've had that experience, I'm not scared anymore of failure. What I've had to learn in the last couple of years is be cognizant of the imposter of success.
Feeling like a big shot.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That a little bit, but also the expectation.
The what, sorry?
The expectation.
Oh yeah.
That's the big one, because you realize that people are noticing, and people you don't expect are noticing too.
Yeah.
I don't realize how I think the one that sunk home for me was actually buddies from high school.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. They weren't even close friends to me in high school, but they followed me on Facebook. It's like, you're one of the most positive people on Facebook. I love you. I'm like, You don't even comment.
Right.
But I learned that. I realized that for whatever reason, like, I don't see it. I draw an audience. And if I draw an audience, so it's like, oh my God. Like, if I let myself, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to be this, blah, 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 right? Failure is a much easier imposter to overcome than success.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I've learned. Right?
I agree entirely, yeah.
How about you? What's been like for me? It was when I was nominated for the Aurora. It hit me pretty hard. It was like, oh my God, people noticed me. But for you, what was it?
That's a really good question. Because of what I've done in my life long before any of this became a thing. It's not that. It's not like I've been noticed. I've been noticed sometimes that I've liked, and mostly that I haven't. When you're famous to close on to 60 million people on the far side of the world for something you don't really believe in, then that's a story for the next show, though.
Yes.
Then you get a different view of what being noticed gets you.
Absolutely. No. 60 million people notice me. I have a very different point of view on that too.
Yeah. I would stop you on the street and shout out your catchphrase.
Oh God.
Now you really want to know the story.
I do, but
maybe should I just tell the story? What do we got? How we doing?
I don't care.
So
no. Like honest to God, like I call it those sparkle moments just to tell you how much I care about it.
So when I was living in China, there used to be this thing that was called English Corner, which was where Chinese people would go to they'd pay money to practice their English with native speakers, and the trade-off for us native speakers of English was that we'd get free beer, right? And basically get to hold court and just be fawned over and feel like a big shot, that kind of false success of feeling like a big shot. So I was in there once, and there was this film crew scouting for a commercial. It was laundry day for me. I was just wearing
whatever.
And I'm not even sure I'm going to go. And I walked in and just saw this very large man with his head was entirely shaved except for this tuft right up the top, and I think it was red. That I might be misremembering that, but I think it was red.
Okay.
And he just shouted as soon as I came in, and so then his translator came up and said, "Mr. Lee, the director, would like to talk to you." And I said, "What's he the director of? I got my people waiting for me. They got to practice their English with me, man." No, he is directing a commercial, and he wants to talk to you. Okay, all right, let's talk. And the product was that they were advertising. It's called Beanlang in China. It's also known as betel nut, but it's this small preserved seed that drops from
one more
that drops from trees, and you chew it, and it's an amphetamine. Like it's a very mild form of speed. Right?
Okay.
You kind of get a little high. You start to move fast. More powerful than caffeine, less than cocaine, say, right?
That's an interesting ground to be in.
I tried it once. It was popular pretty much only in this province.
No, it's fine.
In its preserved form. I tried it once. I like the drugs calming me down, to be honest. But
we all have our thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
I like to come down, not be amped up. So it wasn't really my thing. And so there was this new coffee flavored version that they were putting out.
This sounds like a bad combination.
Yeah. So they were filming like early in the morning, Canadian Thanksgiving Day. So I wasn't working. I was coming back from a trip like the day before. Fine, sure. And I had all these instructions like you must wear exactly what you wore on the day the director saw you. Really? Just laundry day clothes? Sure. And you must not shave. If we want you shaved, we will shave you.
Interesting, but okay.
So I showed out, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're like curling my eyelashes and darkening my eyebrows and this. So then the thing is, and apparently my co-star in the commercial was this very famous mainland Chinese news anchor, and I couldn't really watch TV, whether it was English or Chinese.
Okay.
So I didn't know him, and we were just gonna have this conversation, and they would just overdub anything I was saying with
Whatever they were.
with somebody speaking Chinese, right? So I'm just told, just talk for a bit, and I was like, okay, I'm talking. Here I am. This is me talking. Okay, now, when he offers you the beanlong, just say, look, wave your hand, no, and then put your hand up to your mouth. No. And so the idea was, the commercial roughly translated was, have you tried this new beanlong? And said, no, I can't have that, it hurts my mouth. No, this new kind doesn't hurt your mouth. So, and then the big catchphrase at the end was, lang lang shuang ko, which apparently I just nailed. The director was really happy with it. Which roughly translates to, tastes good and doesn't hurt your mouth. So I didn't really think anything of it until months later when the thing aired, and people would whisper, like when I passed on the street. I was used to the staring, but people would whisper when I passed on the street, say, "Oh, Lang Lang Shuangko, Lang Lang Shuangko." So I was thinking, okay, it's fine. I mean, how many people could have seen the commercial? It's really only a product that they're selling in this province, and that's what, 60 million. 60 million people, twice the population of my home country.
It's like shit. Yeah. You guys high five for fame?
So,
but a good training ground. I'm not out of the way. I'm
Yes.
not out of the way. A very good training ground.
So long way to answer your question. When I first noticed it was people who would notice me for what I could do in terms of writing or presenting at conferences, or which dearest to my heart, music. When I wasn't rejected for putting my music out there. Oh, okay, this is interesting. That's when I started to notice it, because recognition on its own, being recognized by 60 million people in a land on the other side of the world for something that I really didn't care about was meaningless to me. But for something that I could actually do, that's when I started to notice it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, congratulations on impacting 60 million people.
Yes, I couldn't encourage them to. Oh, and I couldn't even chew the thing.
Really?
Oh, I forgot about that part. The coffee flavor. It was like this. So betel nut on its own, beanlong, tastes like kind of minty, rotting licorice, and then you add like Nescafe grounds on top of that.
It seemed like a bad combination to start with.
I was gagging as they were filming me chew it, because then in the commercial, the guy gave me a piece and I chewed it, and my direction was from the translator, now pretend that you are in heaven. So I made this goofy face.
You made this goofy face, like, please don't film me too long.
I was gagging so much, so they actually had to go out and get gum. And I put a whole pack of gum in my mouth to simulate this beanlong being in there, because it was foul. So yeah, I encouraged 60 million people. Well, really only the men. So 30 million people to go chew this thing that's noxious to their health and turns their teeth brown.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I when you told me it was what it did, and then you told me coffee flavor, I was like, oh, that's a bad combination. That's bad. I could even just, it's like, ugh. It's like,
I happened to stuff one in the pocket of a jacket when I left China that I packed and customs didn't look at. Shh, don't tell anyone. That I still have, if anyone would like to try the coffee flavored beanlong from like 15 years ago.
I'm not brave enough. I'll do almost anything. No, it's like, where are you going? Say, I'll try it here, the toilet. Why? Because if it hits me the way I think it's going to hit me, I'm going to be right down on the porcelain god himself and going, hey, I was dumb. Again.
My first month in China, when I first tried it, someone was taking video of, I came up and one of the people I traveled with was filming, and I thought, okay, I feel really weird, and I'm moving really fast. Am I moving really fast? I feel like I'm vibrating.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen the video.
Lovely. So I'll have to look you up on YouTube somewhere. Some. I'm sure it's there somewhere. Jim Jackson Chinese or something like that.
Yeah. I've seen the commercial filmed from somebody's phone with no sound. That's the closest I've ever seen it. I've never had my TV on in China, so I've never watched it. But
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. It's one of those things where it's just like, I don't really need it. And besides, somebody tells me you went to China not to watch the TV.
no,
Yeah.
no.
There's
There's a way of escaping one's own story. That's why I went. But
well, no, and that's fine. Sometimes you need to. Although I find your story comes with you no matter what.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really a nuisance that way.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is a nuisance, but you need it. Like
But like I was saying, a person's story is that person.
Yeah.
Right? You can't get away from that. You got to incorporate it, or you got to absolutely let it go.
Yeah. One or the other.
Yeah.
But the thing is, be like, I mean, it's interesting. Like for me, like going forward, I'm looking forward to the blank slate kind of thing, because again, the reason, like for me, I feel like I've grown a lot in the last 2 years. I don't know if you've noticed or haven't or whatever, but
You're different from the first time
Yeah.
that I was on the show. Yeah.
if you don't mind my asking, what's the biggest difference?
You've stopped apologizing. So, and I don't mean like out loud or anything, but you're now unashamedly you. Whereas before it was a little more timid. You were still absolutely authentically yourself.
Absolutely.
But you came out and kind of said, "Hey guys, sorry, this is who I am." Right? Not in words, but there was kind of that thing. Now you've left all that baggage behind. You're just who you are, and you own it, and that's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was kind of like again, I want to finish that growth. That's kind of why I'm leaving. I don't know what that is exactly.
That's easy for you, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
That's why. I think I don't hate this place, but I don't love it either. It's kind of one of those things where it's like I feel I shouldn't be neutral to something.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yes, and I'll also put a warning on it. Before I left for China, I thought one more time I'm going to drive out to Vancouver and see if living in Vancouver could give my life the meaning that I was looking for in it, right? Because that was the whole idea when I was in my 20s. You just got to find the right place, and that'll give your life meaning, right? And I was in my late 20s by then, and I was walking down Commercial Drive, and I thought, you know what? This is a great place. I would still need to bring my own meaning here.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think you're doing that.
Yeah. The difference is it's not about like finding a meaning. It's more like I want to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and kind of I want to see what happens. It's not really about. You ever have those moments in your life where you have that freedom to choose your path for at least a short time?
Yeah.
I don't know what's coming next exactly, but you have that freedom. So choose your path, see where it leads you, learn from it. I might even come back. Like there is actually definitely a possibility.
Of course,
yeah.
Nothing's written in stone.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So, but even if I don't, if I do, I don't. But either way, it just feels like I feel like I've grown as far as I can here for now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's one of the big things. That is the big theme of my writing is looking back at those peak choice moments in one's life, and what if you chose the other?
I love that. Actually, that was my favorite part of Stones in My Passport. I love that. That was
writing that idea, and then every book since has been another look at that. What if you could undo something or change the way?
So I'm going to ask a really deep question here.
Okay.
Right. How much does regret play a role in your writing? I ask that because it seems to me like you were a man that was offered many different roads.
Well, so anytime.
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer your deep question with a deep answer.
Yeah.
And anytime I start to think or feel regret in any way, there's a song lyric from the Magnetic Fields that I think is everything. I always just think
Love
of
it.
song lyrics.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
And as I hurtle down the highway, past the factories and the graves, I think of all the years I've wasted. I think of all the years I've saved. Right? That it's never regret. It's just more of a... Remember when Marvel had that series What If?
Yes, I love that series.
It's just more that. I want
Okay.
to
Okay.
see. Okay. Let's do a counterfactual here. What if instead of this happening, this happened? What would that have looked like?
No.
You know?
I just bring that up. Like, I made tons of mistakes. I still have made tons of. I still make them. I don't regret any of my mistakes. The very, very tiny few regrets I have, those I still remember.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of right. That to me. That it just seems like you were the kind of guy once upon a time. I think I don't think older you does this, but younger you might have made some not mistakes, but might have had regrets.
Oh yeah, I made some pretty safe decisions.
Yeah. No.
That weren't always the best for me over the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't feel like I feel today like you're a different guy, right? I think you're more comfortable with your mistakes than you were back then.
Whoa, what are we? 2019. 3 years ago, I would have answered that question differently.
Yeah.
Right. That's when I'd been living in the corporate world for longer than I would have wanted to. What happened was I looked at my LinkedIn, connections. I guess not friends. LinkedIn connections, and they were all from the accounting firm where I worked. That's fine, but I also want to have people in other walks of life, and this is right the year I turned 40 as well. So suddenly it was what happened to all those creative people I used to know, and I just became desperate to reconnect with the creative people and therefore my own creativity, right?
Yeah.
And then within a year or two, the Calgary Writers community and you and When Words Collide and all that. So that's the power of community. You are who you feel. You are the community you feel a part of.
Absolutely.
Right. That has such a big.
Thank you.
Such a big effect on your personal identity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think.
So yes, regret now, not so much.
No.
Not as much. Not more than. Your average person,
I think you and I are in the same boat. We're cool with our mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're cool with them. We don't want regrets at this point.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here.
Yeah.
I do kind of want to see how it would have been differently if I'd done things differently.
No. That's how we learn too. It is totally how we learn.
Yeah.
I kind of hate ending the conversation here. I really do.
But that's a really good point for the listeners.
Yeah, I kind of do.
No, it's not great for us.
Oh, no. I'm going to say this here. I am going to miss you dearly.
Oh, I'm going to miss you, Josh, man. Yeah.
Because honestly, you're a sweet dude. Whether you admit it or not, you're a very sweet dude.
I'm a teddy bear.
Yeah. How about we do this? Plug your... When's your next book coming out, or your next album coming out, actually? Because either way, it actually applies.
Yes, so next album is currently in the brain only. Might have a band. Got to talk to some people.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Got to talk to some people, but that will probably be next summer.
When you have a band, come back on the show.
Okay.
Okay, come back on the show.
Done.
Yeah, bring your band in. Bring your band in.
Course, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can top what I did with Junkies Rutch.
Books. I'm taking a little sabbatical, January to July, so I'll be writing a lot then, and then next summer there'll be stuff coming out. Look for some anthologies that I'll be publishing in the
That's cool.
next summer as well. Yeah.
The one that you and a certain somebody talked about, is that going to happen then?
If it happens, that's when it's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to do something with that.
Oh yeah. You're on our list.
Yeah. I'd love. No, I really dig it. Anyways, so there's that. How can people find you?
Jim.jackson.author on a Facebook page, and reallygoodstory.com. You'll find everything you need there.
Actually, just for fun, where can people find your album on Spotify?
Search for Flypaper Motel. It's way easier than than searching for my name.
Okay.
Flypaper Motel, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, whatever your poison is.
I love it.
This episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint supports creators by creators. Whether you are writing a book or creating a video game, Indie Imprint works with its clients to produce, edit, and present their projects to the world. For more information, check out their website at www.indieimprint.com.
And that was my conversation with Jim Jackson. Check out Flypaper Motel, his latest music release. You can actually get that on his website. Check out his books. He's a great writer. I really, really enjoy Jim's stuff. Definitely check him out. And while you're at it, like I said, go listen to a song of his. There are a couple of them up there. Very bluesy, very fun. Jim, thanks for coming on my show. So, anyway, what I'm doing right now this year is I'm kind of right now in the midst of working on 2 novels. That's right. I'm trying to get that one. They both have different goals. Cloud Diary is coming imminently. I'm actually, literally as soon as I'm done this texting my guy to figure out when I can do that. When I have a release date, I will let you guys know. Outside of that, I'm just doing my thing in Vancouver for the time being. Anyways, trying to make every moment count. I think that'll do it for this episode. That'll do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, support a number of different ways. Subscribe to the podcast. I am on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podomatic. Subscribe, give a listen. Definitely some great conversations there. My YouTube channel is Joshua Pantellaresco. Support my sponsors, Indie Imprint. Get Your Ass to Mars. The game is out. Definitely take a look at it. It'll be great. Outside of that, my books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God, are available on MiraClePublishing.com. My merchandise is available at jpantellaresco.redbubble.com. Definitely check all that stuff out. Stay inspired out there, guys. I will talk to you next time.
Josh.